Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today. So nice to be here with you. I hope that you had a good amount of the previous days in your practice and have found some insight in your life. Today, weather is cold, but not as cold as before, and we don't have as much snow. Um, I've begun my semester of school, so therefore, lots of assignments and reading uh, for my Master of Divinity. It's very interesting because luckily I get to read and deepen my understanding with many great teachers of the different variety of religions and interpretations. And it's very important, I think, even as practitioners of Buddhism, that we are able to delve into these aspects because a lot of times, even in Buddhism, we separate, which, as I stated before, my belief is that they so we can even see through Nietzsche and Shonen's life this kind of interrelational study that happened, in which one was able to find their the school that was closest to their belief, and then also that they could develop their own beliefs, such as Nietzsche and Shonen did amongst the Buddhist institution. And now, even as we look at Buddhism, a lot of and yoga, etc., a lot of research um, is going into this idea of more deeper aspects, such as one of the classes I have that is very fascinating is concerning the Silk Road, but according to the influence of maritime, such as trade, um, and also basically a lot of trade in the ancient world and how it related to the both the growth and influence of Buddhism, as we could see. And also, as I've been very interested in my study, is its decline, because I believe in understanding its decline. It sends forth our some, how do you say, warnings about when Buddhism does something, such as for my studies, when Buddhism becomes too um, institutionalized educationally, and it loses that interpersonal uh, practice that allows both intellectual pursuit and study, as well as faith-based study and practice, such as what the majority of people will do. It's interesting, in America that tends to be the situation too, in which Buddhism is usually a religion of the upper middle class, as well as the a lot of times those in the world of education, all right, and study, and that. So that becomes a kind of issue with the Buddhism, because as we see, and I have to say that many of the more, as I would say, Kriya or action-oriented styles of Buddhism, such as Nichiren Buddhism, tends to lend itself more to the majority of people who wish to practice at varying degrees. Um, and then also having experiential understanding as opposed to intellectual understanding. And it's fascinating because a lot of those beliefs are in themselves being questioned, which is what the sciences are supposed to do. One really interesting aspect that is currently being uh, challenged, that is usually accepted, is this idea of in Buddhism, where India, where the Shakyamuni Siddhartha's kingdom was, the Shakya kingdom, um, many people believe that Buddhism was a challenge, an immediate challenge, I would say, because it obviously was a challenge to the caste system, but an immediate challenge in which many scholars are saying that the forms of Vedism that we see were more in the West, and that Buddhism was in the East. It is very, as my teacher had always said, Komoto Sensei, that the land, the type of land influences the type of teachings, such as in the desert, you may have one interpretation of monotheistic, one God, and then in an island, you may have a polytheistic, many gods, because of just the different environments, how people interpret or how they see life or the world. And they believe that in the East, Vedism had not made its way over, so that this point is in some discussion that Buddhism was created or became powerful because of this direct, um, perhaps, challenge to Vedic thinking and the idea of the caste system. But that actually they believe that came much later, that was in the West, and that Buddha himself in the East was indeed a man of his time, because also we see in that place, many people don't know, this is something you should take a look at, Jainism. It's a contemporary, and as from what I understand, a little bit older than Buddhism. However, they all are called the Shramana, or the kind of renunciate traditions, and they share many similar qualities that are very diametrically opposed to Vedic qualities, such as the idea of not having to go through the idea of ceremony, of relieving karma, and that was done through a particular class. Whereas in the Shramana practice, one could practice themselves to overcome karma and to find enlightenment. Didn't have to go through a particular system or a particular caste. So therefore, they were automatically different because, again, the people of that area, and in Jainism and Buddhism, the people were of the what some kind of warrior class. And when people became Jains, they joined this class. They were of this class, which is quite different as rulers to the Brahmins, who did not travel, who did not do anything with commerce. And in the East, Buddhists were very involved in commerce. And actually in Jainism, Jainism is noted, and even to this day, involved in the financial sector of business and that, because they are trusted because of their very strong moralistic beliefs. That people trust Jains. It's a belief that they are trustworthy within the ideas of money and that and commerce. So therefore, this was obviously an aspect of Buddhism as well. So there, again, another similarity, which again, in this course that I'm studying with one of the Greek professors, that they are showing how through the maritime, not just the land, which is what we have focused on for the Silk Road, but also the idea of the land. I mean, the maritime, the traveling by sea, which was another aspect that was not quite researched. So very interesting, very, very interesting. So, again, um, all of these are theories, but the most important idea is the practical application of our study and practice, our own personal faith. And so with that, let us go ahead and engage in our main practice of sitting and communing in meditation. Let's do a little stretch here and loosen the body up. Move our head. Okay, let us go and prepare ourselves for meditation. Let's do 3 purifying breaths, breathing in through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth. Round 2. Last round. Now, with the sound of the bell, let us go into our meditation, breathing through our nose, exhaling, Namyo Horenge Kyo, and inhaling, simply observing. Let us release our concentration, bringing our attention back to our body. Let us mindfully, without judgment, verify or look at, observe our mind, our breathing, our body. As we do that, let us bring more attention back to the body. Let us breathe in, hold, exhale. Back into our body, start to move our fingers, our toes, trunk, put our hands together. Thank you very much, everyone, for your meditation and practice this morning. Let us carry this dhyana into our daily lives. Remember that the dhyana is supported by the other limbs, including yama, niyama, yama meaning the precepts, and niyama meaning the regulation. As we'll talk more about the other limbs, those are very essential as the base and also the major influence to even the study of yoga, as is found in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. So please keep those with you. Without that core, we're unable to have a peaceful and deep dhyana. Right? Thank you very much.